Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. As you can see, we are currently back in my hometown house because I'm officially out of Flamingo Crossings. I've been home for about 3 weeks now. I'm just trying to apply for jobs and things. So I wanted to do a little story time life update situation on here to kind of kickstart us into this new phase of life because I have a very major life update that happened while we were moving out of Flamingo Crossings, and I'm going to get into it in just a second. It's been a lot of fun being here at home, but I am kind of ready to start my big girl life and move out into an apartment and get a big girl job and all of those things. So we're going to talk about that right now today. I figured I would do a nice little sit down video to kind of end this chapter of the channel because there's going to be a new chapter coming and I'm so excited to talk to you guys all about it. So I'm gonna do my makeup while I talk to you guys about these things. It's gonna be largely story time focused, but there's also going to be a couple life updates in there as well. So make sure you have a snack, make sure you have a drink because we might be here a while. The biggest life update that happened was while we were moving out of Flamingo Crossings. As you saw in my last video, it kind of ended a little harshly, and that's mostly because I didn't know what else I was going to be filming that week. I wanted to just enjoy my last couple days in Florida before heading home. And the day after my last clip in that last video, this happened, which is crazy. So this is going to be a proposal story time. I'm so excited to talk to you guys about how my fiance actually ended up proposing to me in my most favorite place in the entire world. So I actually have a full timeline breakdown of things that I wanted to talk about so that I didn't miss anything and it would be as easy to follow for you guys as possible because apparently this has been in the works since about October. So I'm going to start this story off between the months of October and November because this is when he started to figure out his plan as far as how he was going to propose to me. So apparently throughout the entire process from start to finish, he's been talking to my high school best friend. I was wondering, he told me at some point, he was like, when I propose, no one's really gonna know until it happens. And so that felt like a very him thing to say and do. So I didn't really question my high school best friend through all of this. She actually did a great job in making sure that I had no idea she was even involved up until maybe the very end of this whole story. But regardless, she made it very apparent that she had no idea what was happening and she was just feeding into the delusions that I was having. So that was a fun time, a perfect wingwoman for sure. This is when she started to create that dialogue between my now fiance, and my high school best friend. They were kind of scheming together. Okay, what kind of stone are you getting? What kind of setting are you getting? What kind of ring? Where from? All of that. So they started talking about that pretty much at the beginning of November. My suspicions start at the end of November when he comes to visit me. Our dating anniversary is November 30th. So he decided to come for the week before that for a couple of reasons. First of all, obviously, it was our anniversary weekend and we wanted to do something special for it. So he came to visit me in Disney and we had ourselves a little Disney weekend. It was also the exact halfway point of my program. And so we had never been long distance that long before. We've always kind of been long distance. We've been like 3 hours apart for the majority of our relationship. And so the multi-state line thing was new for both of us and he was really feeling the distance at the very end of it. So he wanted to come and just kind of break that time a little bit. So he came during my halfway point of my program, which was a lot of fun. I got to take a break from work. I got to see him, stay with him for a while. It was our first trip, just the two of us, which was also a lot of fun. We got to figure out what Disney things we like and don't like as a couple instead of him coming with my family to a couple of our family vacations because we had gone on multiple vacations before with him tagging along before we did this. So we kind of figured out, okay, what do we like as just the two of us and what do we not like? What do we want to do and all of that. But yeah, he came, he left. No big issue other than one thing that I noticed on our last day. So he was going to be taking a shower and he was putting all of his clothes away and we were just kind of getting our room packed up to leave. And while he was in the shower, he had mistakenly left his phone on the YouTube app. We know the passwords to our phones and there's no secrecy as far as that goes. And so I don't think he really noticed what was on the screen when he left it, but apparently there was a targeted YouTube ad for diamonds. Like, what kind of diamond suits her best? What shape? What cut? What, carat size should you be getting your girl? And I was like, ooh. So he's truly actually thinking about this. Oh my god. Because we have been together for 7 years now. And it's gonna happen at some point in the next year because we had talked about that explicitly. And when I saw that YouTube ad, I was like, my God. So he's truly, truly thinking about getting me a ring, which is crazy. So the ring that he picked is gorgeous, and I'll give you a full rundown of it once I tell you the whole story, but it's just, he did such a great job. He had schemed with my best friend about what to get me because she had looked at my Pinterest board and saw all of the things. So I thought it was really cute and sweet that he was like, I have no idea where to start, can you help me? So he started thinking about rings, I guess, in November, December time. He was watching videos and all of that. But the fact that I caught on to that, like, I'm a little too perceptive for my own good sometimes. So that was when the delusions initially started. But then my fiance leaves from the November trip and all is well. Everything goes back to normal. And then we start figuring out, okay, who is going to help me move out of the college program apartments? Because we were at that point where we were able to start booking those hotels. And if we didn't book fast, we would have nothing available. So my mom and I decided to just get the two of us a room because of a couple of reasons. The first one being we didn't know how much PTO my fiance would have. The person that we're referring to was my boyfriend at the time, but now he's my fiance. We're just getting that out of the way. But we didn't know how much PTO he would have left, or at least have roll over into the next year. My dad was having a job where he didn't get PTO, paid time off, for his first year of work. And so because of that, he wasn't able to help me move in, and he probably wouldn't be able to help me move out either because he was still at the job at the time. And so we were just like, okay, let's just have my mom come and help me move out. It'll just be an easy process. We'd be there for like 4 days maybe and just do the move out process, and that would be basically it. Maybe have like one fun day in the parks, you know? So we ended up booking the Port Orleans Riverside Hotel, and we got a nice spacious room so that I would have enough room for all of the bags that I would be having at the end of the trip. And so we booked it for, I think it was 4 nights. It was like a Wednesday through Saturday type of vibe, you know? So we booked that, and then my mom was like, you know, we could just ask him if he tentatively wanted to come, and we could book him a flight, and then worst case scenario, it could be refunded if we need to. And so we ended up doing that. I asked him, I was like, hey, do you want to try and come? And then we can just get you a flight, and then if it ends up being that you can't come, we'll just cancel your flight and it will be fine. And he was like, you know what, sure, the room has 2 beds, it'll be fine, I'll come too. So it ended up being my mom, my fiance, and I. That was going to be the plan for those 4 days. Okay, if things look super different, it's because I had to change my camera because both of my big DSLR batteries were dead, so sorry about that. But back to the story. It was supposed to be just me, my fiance, and my mom doing the move out process, and just for 4 days, and that was gonna be the end of it. But a couple days after we start deciding, okay, my fiance can't actually come for this whole process, he got his PTO approved and everything, he was like, what if I came 2 days early and just met up with your mom later? And I was like, okay, that sounds like fun. Sure, absolutely, whatever, as long as you're able to do it. And so we end up looking for potential rebooks, like maybe we can just cancel our current reservation and extend it a little bit, and then my mom can just come a little later to the same hotel room, and that would be fine. But we end up not being able to do that because Port Orleans had no availability for that. And so we end up looking for split stay type things, and we found a couple of options. The first one being the All-Star resorts. Now, we did stay in those resorts on his first trip, and everything was fine. It did what we needed to do, and at that point I wouldn't have had a whole bunch of bags like for those first 2 days. So I was thinking, why not we just do that again, save some money, and then when we go to the new hotel, it'll be an easy peasy process. And he was like, I understand where you're coming from, but let's try and look for something different. I want to stay somewhere else. And I was like, okay. So we end up looking for other places. Nothing's really available other than one other resort, a deluxe resort. It was the Wilderness Lodge, $280 a night. I was like, holy cow, you really want to pay that for 2 nights? And he was like, look, you're only gonna be here for another couple days. I know that you love this place so much. I want to splurge for you so that you can have the most magical end to your time as possible. And I was like, well, I appreciate that. But in my head, I was thinking, is this part of the plan? Like, is he gonna propose maybe like on the balcony or something like that? And apparently that was not part of the whole plan. It was the backup plan in case it like rained or something, or I didn't have the day off that he was planning on doing it, which we'll get into later. Apparently that was not part of the initial process. That was just like a happy coincidence, and it ended up working out fine. We ended up booking the Wilderness Lodge because he was like, let's do that one. And I was like, okay, I'm fine with that as long as you're okay with paying the money for it, because it was gonna be like $280 a night. And I was like, I don't want to put you through that financial stress. And he was like, look, I'll be fine. It is what it is. I want you to have the most magical time as possible. And so we end up booking that for the first 2 days, and then we were gonna meet up with my mom at Port Orleans Riverside a couple days later. He was going to propose the day before we moved hotels. That was kind of the original plan. He told me this afterward. Cut to a couple weeks later, end of December-ish, and my mom finds out that she was summoned for jury duty February, the week that I was supposed to be moving out. And so she was like, this is kind of a problem. And at that point too, my dad no longer had a job. He had left that job. It was a little toxic. He was like, this is a little much. I also don't really like the people or the work that I'm doing. I'm just gonna leave. And so he ended up leaving that job, and he is still unemployed right now. But because that was the original plan, it was my mom and my fiance to come and help me move out, my mom called me and was like, listen, you know how your dad is with stressful situations. He's very short fused. It makes things a lot more stressful as far as like moving and things like that, because he has helped me move out a couple times before. My mom was like, listen, I know you love him, but if you don't want dad to come, please tell me so that I could take myself off of this reservation. She was like, if I come, my dad was gonna want to come too. And so we ended up actually taking my mom off of the reservation, the original reservation, and ended up being my fiance and I doing the entire process ourselves, because I knew that we would be able to do it. I wasn't gonna have nearly as much baggage as I did when I moved in. And so I was like, yeah, we'll be able to handle it. You do what you need to do in case you need to do the whole jury duty situation. Stay with dad, and it was just going to be me and my fiance doing that. The end situation was 2 nights at Wilderness Lodge, and then we moved rooms to the Port Orleans resort, and that would have enough space too for all 7 of my bags that I had ended up bringing back. So it ended up working out for the best, but that was the entire process from start to finish as far as accommodations. Forward to January, we are trying to figure out, okay, what days are we going to do what? Like, what days are going to be fun? What days are going to be all work, no play? What are we going to be doing here? And I told him, I was like, listen, I picked our last park when you came last time in November. I picked Epcot, so where do you want to go? I asked him that, like, where do you want to go for like your last Disney trip for a while? And he was like, I want to go to Magic Kingdom. He wants to go to Magic Kingdom? The most like girly, magical park of them all? Like, he wants to go to Magic Kingdom? That was a little suspicious to me. I was like, okay. Apparently he still loves that park because there's just a lot to do there, which is totally understandable. Like, I love that park for that reason too. But I feel like guys liking that park, it feels like that shouldn't be the case, you know, but he truly actually loves that park. And so I was like, you know what, sure, let's do it. So I made a reservation for myself. We ended up having to buy him tickets because I didn't have Chip and Dale's yet, but we were trying to figure out like, okay, which days are gonna be park days. And we ended up figuring out the second day of our vacation, the first full day, and our last full day are going to be our park days, and then everything else is going to just be chilling at the resort, maybe resort hopping a little bit, Disney Springs, working on the apartment, that kind of thing. We bought him some park reservations and tickets for that, but the fact that he was like, I want to go to Magic Kingdom was a little suspicious to me. Forward about a week, and the schedule drops for the week that we are supposed to be going to move out and go to the parks and all of that. I get scheduled for the day that we're supposed to go to Magic Kingdom because that was supposed to be the true last day of my work time with Disney before I move out. And so I ended up going online and trying to get this thing figured out because I was like, I need to have this day off for a couple of reasons. Because I had an inkling. I was like, he really wants to go to Magic Kingdom. I have a feeling he's gonna probably propose to me in front of the castle. So I ended up putting that on the Facebook post. I was like, listen, someone please take this from me because I have a feeling something is going to be happening. And I put like the little ring emoji, and someone took it immediately. I was like, oh, thank God, because that would have been so stressful. My fiance at the time was like, listen, if you don't get this day off, I will pay someone to take it from you. Like, he was adamant that I got this day off. I was kind of suspicious of him too then. It's not the absolute end of the world if I get this day off and he's acting like it is. So that was a little weird, but I ended up getting that day off no problem. He told me after the fact, he was like, if you didn't get that day off, I probably would have done it on the balcony at the Wilderness Lodge the night before. So that ended up working out as a failsafe for him, but it was totally coincidental of the whole thing. So we ended up getting my day off, which is great. Got all of the park situations figured out, and that was basically the plan. We just had to wait for him to get there. That week that the schedule had dropped, my high school best friend and her other best friend, Kendall and Danielle, came for our birthday bash situation. So if you haven't seen any of those videos, I'm gonna pop them up. I think they're over here right now. If you wanna watch them, they were a lot of fun. They're very chaotic, but what's new with that crowd? Apparently, Kendall was doing a lot of spying for my fiance to figure out, okay, how can we get this ring through security without her noticing? She ended up bringing an actual ring box and a ring ring through security in multiple different ways. So like the first day she had the ring in the box in the bag and brought it through security, that was fine. She ended up actually then taking the ring out of the box and still keeping the box with her, and that was fine too. And so the ring in the box was not the issue, which is great. She ended up having some issues like wardrobe things with like metal zippers and stuff, but the ring was not the problem. And so that was the main reason why she brought the ring in the box with her. I had no idea she did any of this until she told me after the fact, so I thought that was very funny and very stealthy on her part. She made sure that I had no idea that any of it was happening. She did a great job with that. Yeah, she ended up coming and kind of scoping out potential pictures. She kept asking me, she was like, so where do you love to have your pictures taken here the most? Like, what do you think is the best angle for the castle versus people in the background? And so I was telling her all these things because we were going to try and get some PhotoPass pictures, the three of us together. Ended up raining that day, which is unfortunate because none of the PhotoPass photographers were out, but I kept pointing out to her, I was like, that's the place that I usually will go to for pictures here. This one's also really good. I don't go on the main street very much because there's a lot of people over there. All of the places, all of the spots on the hub that I thought were the best for castle pictures. And so she was making notes of those in her head, and like while I was in the bathroom or doing things or talking to you guys, she would be typing on her phone notes of like, okay, these are the best places that she likes to get her pictures done in Magic Kingdom. And so I thought that was really cute and sweet. But yeah, when she came, she wasn't just coming for her birthday. She was coming as a spy for my fiance while he was figuring out the ring. That trip was a lot of fun. I had no idea. I thought I was just blabbing and gossiping and being delusional with all of the like clues that were coming together in my head. And she was just like excited. She was like, oh my God, it might be happening, even though she knew it was going to be happening. Like she was the best wing woman ever. So shout out to her for that, because I had no idea that she was in on any of it. And then between the week of Kendall and Danielle coming and the week that he's supposed to come, he did something that I was very suspicious of. He turned his location off on Life 360 for a day or so. And the reason why I even checked is because I had called him. He hung up on me. He normally doesn't do that. Usually it will ring a bunch and then go to voicemail, but he hung up on me within like 2 rings. And so I was suspicious of that. I was like, I wonder where he is, what's going on. And so I checked his location and his location is turned off. And so I texted Kendall, I was like, his location's turned off. What do I do? What do I tell him? And she told me, she was like, yeah, Life 360's been kind of funny lately, which it had been at that point. She was like, you should check my location and just see, because my parents are having issues with my situation too. And so I checked her location because I have her on Life 360 too. Her location was fine. So I was like, maybe it's just a him thing, because his phone is very funny. His service is terrible on his phone. He needs a new one. But anyways, that was the conclusion that I came to. I was like, he'll probably just call me when he has service again, because I thought his service had turned off, but he had actually turned off his location manually. He was very stealthy there. Turns out the reason why he turned off his location that day was to meet up with my parents and ask for their blessing to marry me. I was like, that's so cute. I'm cutting in here for a second because I just remembered a little detail about this specific thing that happened to make me realize that, oh, he's proposing. A couple days before he had asked my parents for their blessing, he had asked me for my parents' phone numbers. I thought he already had them. It's been 7 years. Why are you asking me if you have my parents' phone numbers? That's a little weird. Anyways, back to the story. He apparently had met my parents halfway and gotten lunch with them and took them out to lunch and asked them for their formal blessing. And obviously they said yes, but the fact that he had to turn off his location to do that, because we're long distance, he had no other choice. I would have noticed otherwise. That was the original thought, that like, oh, he's definitely up to something. But I think that's the whole story. I'm looking at my notes down on the ground here. I think that is where the story of like before him coming down to actually propose to me, I think that's all of the clues that I have. I also think that Kendall has more than that, because she was obviously in contact with him throughout the entire process as far as how he was gonna do it and what kind of ring it was and all of that. But the week that he comes to move me out, propose, apparently, comes around, he arrives at Wilderness Lodge and we have a cutie little dinner at Roaring Fork, and it was just a cozy little evening. We watched the fireworks from the balcony, and the entire time I'm holding his hand, I'm not looking at him because I'm like, what if he does it here? Because we could see the fireworks from our hotel room. The problem is that it said partial viewing when we booked it, so we didn't know how much of the fireworks we'd be able to see, how much of Magic Kingdom we would be able to see. We end up being able to see a good chunk of it, although a lot of it was covered by trees and stuff. We were on like the back side of the resort, so we were surrounded by trees on all sides. Basically, we could see the fireworks but not the castle too well. Like we could see the very top spires, but we couldn't see the entirety of Magic Kingdom or anything like that. So I was kind of thinking, I was like, if he does it right now, we're not gonna have any pictures. I'm gonna be in pajamas. I don't know what's gonna happen here. He ended up not doing it on the balcony because that was the backup plan in case I didn't get that the next day off, and I ended up getting the next day off, so he didn't have to worry about getting the proposal done beforehand, which was nice because I would have cried if the original plan was for me to not be working and I end up working. So we watch the fireworks from our hotel room, we have a good night's sleep, all of that. We wake up on the day of the proposal and he is not nervous at all. I'm wondering, I'm like, am I psyching myself out here? Like, am I getting my hopes up a little bit? I don't know if it's actually gonna be happening. I'm not noticing anything different. He seems totally normal, totally fine. Apparently, he had been up to no good. This is really smart of him. This is what tipped me off as to it's probably not happening today. I thought it was gonna be happening maybe at like Hollywood Studios on our last day or something like that instead at this point. He had broken a pair of his earbuds, I think a couple times before. Like the week that I was moving into Flamingo Crossings, he had accidentally washed his earbuds with his clothes and stuff. So his earbuds were dead. He got an exact duplicate replacement because he just loved them. And then the box that this ring came in, this was not going to fly in security. Like this thing is ginormous. I would have noticed it immediately. And so he was thinking to himself, okay, how do I make this a secret? Because obviously I'm gonna know if this is in his pocket or anywhere in his possession that I can see. He ended up retrofitting a ring box out of his old earbud case. He ripped apart the box that some matching earrings came in. I have to get those actually because they're really cute and pretty. They are made of the same diamond-ish that the diamond that's in my ring is made out of. It was just one of those like freebie jewelry things that happens whenever you buy a ring. You usually get something complimentary. And so these little earrings, they're so pretty. They're like half a carat, I think. They came in a box, kind of a crappy box, honestly. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to take this box apart and retrofit a ring box out of my old earbud case because I know that he wears his earbuds all the time. He brings his earbuds with him everywhere. It's just part of what he looks for in his pockets whenever he's around anywhere. And so he retrofits his old earbud case that he had broken into a ring box using the padding from the box for the earrings. And I thought that was so smart because in my point of view, it looked like he was just carrying around his earbuds like he normally does, when in reality, he was carrying a fake. While I was in the bathroom getting ready and doing my makeup, skincare, all of that, he had replaced the actual earbuds on the nightstand with the fake one for continuity's sake, so that when he goes to pick up his things, it looks like he's just picking up his earbuds like he normally does. I was like, that's so smart. That is genius. So he brings his earbuds with him to the parks just because it's just force of habit. He wanted to keep them with him instead of having to hide them or putting it in the safe or whatever. I was like, that's okay, that's fine. So when he took everything out of his pockets, it was just his earbud case. And I was like, oh, maybe it's not happening, or maybe the ring is just free floating in his pocket and I have no idea. I'm not going to put any pressure on it though. I'm just going to enjoy my time with him here at Magic Kingdom. We walk into Magic Kingdom and it is cloudy, overcast, almost rainy. And in his head, he told me this afterward, he was like, I was internally panicking because I wanted to propose to you first thing in the morning so I could get it out of the way. And here we walk in and you can't even see the castle because it's so overcast and rainy and gross. And I'm like, okay, we can't take pictures right now because it's obviously overcast. But I look at the weather and it says that it's supposed to be done by like 11. So let's go ride a couple rides first. We ride, I think, Haunted Mansion, we ride Pirates of the Caribbean, we ride PhilharMagic. And then when we come out of, I don't know which one we rode first or last or whatever, but we come out of one of those rides and the sky is clear, bright blue, no clouds at all. And so I was thinking, okay, let's go make our way over to the front of the park again to take some pictures because I wanted to take pictures of our last time in Magic Kingdom for a while. You want to take pictures so that this could happen. And it just so happened that I had the PhotoPass, like memory maker pass for cast members. And so I was like, we could take as many pictures as we want on this trip so that we have the memories and all of that. We walk up to the very front of the park. I don't want to take pictures on Main Street because I don't really like those pictures very well. I don't like how many people are in them and all of that. So I'm looking around the front to see, okay, what PhotoPass photographer has kind of like a short line, but is still in the front of the park. We spot the photographer that is in front of the partner stand. statue. And so I'm like, okay, this one would be good. It's very much very in front of the castle, and there's not a whole lot of people in the background. There can't really be because of the partner statue. And so we get in line for that. And I can tell he's starting to get a little bit nervous at this point. Poor man had been to the bathroom like 3 times, and apparently one of those trips to the bathroom was to move the ring box from his right pocket to his left pocket so that he could easily get it out when he proposed. I thought that was sweet too, but we get up to the photographer and he doesn't seem super nervous up until he's in front of the camera, and then he starts really heavy breathing. He goes, and I'm like, what is going on? Either he's about to pass out or something's about to go down. And he ends up dropping to one knee. He asks me, and I start like crying. I'm like, oh my God, because I knew it was going to happen probably, but like still the event of it all, it was just so beautiful. I loved the entire thing. The photographer was awesome. He got some great pictures. I'll pop a couple of them up over here. I'll just slide them through right here. But he gave me a little bit of a speech, but not a super long one, because he's not really one to be in front of people voluntarily, you know? He doesn't like to speak in front of people very much. He doesn't really like the spotlight at all. And so when he dropped one knee in front of the entirety of Magic Kingdom, I was like, so he gave me the dream proposal, I think. He did such a great job with the ring itself. I'll show you what the ring looks like now. So it is 2.6 carats. It is lab-grown diamond. He wanted to get me a true diamond, so something like a moissanite or cubic zirconia or whatever, because he wanted it to be durable and traditional. And it's a tri-stone setting, so there are a couple of pear-shaped stones over here as well. I don't know the sizes of them, but they're just so dainty and cute. And then you can see that there are some leaf prongs on the sides with a couple of mini diamonds on the edges. It's on both sides as well. He did such a great job. He customized this on an online retailer, apparently. He didn't go to an actual jeweler for it, which I know is a little controversial, but they have the stamp of authenticity. I don't know where the authenticity papers are right now. Very authentically made, incredibly sourced, all of that. He did his true research on figuring out where he was going to be getting this ring. And on the inside too, it says happily ever after engraved in script. And so I was like, dream ring right here. Kendall did such a great job at finding inspiration pictures, because he found one on my Pinterest page that was like, that's probably gonna be what I go for, because I love that design. So he likes the tri-stone look, and obviously I do too. So he did such a great job with this. We took a bunch of pictures with other photographers as well. We didn't ride a whole bunch of rides after this because I was like, I need all of the pictures I can get. So we took a bunch of pictures this day, and it was so much fun. The rest of the trip went fine. We were able to get myself moved out, all of that. We went to Hollywood Studios, showed all of my PhotoPass friends that this happened, because they were all like, has it happened yet? Has it happened yet? They were texting me the entire trip, and so I got to show them in person, like, yes, it actually did happen. And it was a lot of fun to kind of jump around and show them the ring and tell them how it happened and all of that. All of my friends and family were like waiting for a call, the ones that knew about it anyway, and I ended up not calling them that it had happened, because I was like, I want to just enjoy it, the two of us, before I start calling people and showing people. And I wanted to play a little game with my high school best friend and Erin to see if they would notice. They're the two people that I have streaks with on Snapchat. I sent them a picture of my fiance and I eating a pretzel in front of Magic Kingdom, and I thought I was being slick. The ring was not in the picture. It looked like we were just having a good time. Then I forgot that I had a happily ever after button on my shirt, and both of them noticed it immediately. They were like, you're not wearing the DCP button anymore, you're wearing a different one, did it happen? And so I left them on red, and I know that was kind of rude and mean, but I wanted to play the game. You can only do that once in your life, you know? And so I wanted to play with them a little bit, and the evening after this happened, I had told all of my friends and family and all of that. So it's going to be a little while before we actually start planning the wedding, because we're trying to move out into a new apartment. We're trying to both get new jobs so that we can move to a new apartment, and so we're trying to figure out the life stuff first, the foundational things, before we start wedding planning, because once you start wedding planning, you can't really stop. So you're going to be seeing a lot of moving content, a lot of wedding planning content to come in the next year or so, and I'm so excited to take you guys along with it. He is probably not going to be showing his face a whole lot in these videos. He's not really into that. I asked him about it. I was like, listen, first of all, we're going to be living together, and secondly, are you okay if I document the process of us planning our wedding? And he was like, you can document it, I just don't want to be in front of the camera talking. And I was like, Cool, chill. So you might see a couple glimpses of him, but you probably won't be hearing him talk in front of the camera looking at you guys and all of that. You'll hear him talking in the background because obviously we're going to be coexisting together in the same apartment, but you're not going to be seeing him talk to you like I'm talking to you right now. So that is the life update. I still don't have a job quite yet. I am applying and applying and applying and applying, and we're just gonna see what sticks. But yeah, that was the ranty little vlog. I have to do setting spray still. I catch myself staring at my hand all the time. This ring is also very much heavier than my promise ring was whenever I showed that promise ring in any of my videos. The promise ring is very, very light compared to this. I'm not trying to brag, but it is significantly heavier. So I have gotten used to the weight. I thought that was really funny when I was putting my old ring in his makeshift ring box. I was like, this ring is so tiny compared to the one that's on my hand now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little rant, this story time life update situation. If you did, please leave a like. Comment down below the ring emoji because you're gonna be seeing a lot more of this, and I can actually show my hand in the videos now, which is crazy. But yeah, stay tuned for some moving content, for some wedding content to come, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.